Okay, we will call to order the December 9th, 2021 Danby Select Board meeting. Would you please rise and join me in the pledge to the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call. Haynes.
Here.
White.
Here.
Fuller.
Here.
Powers.
Here.
Bender. Here. I'll entertain a motion to set the agenda, and the only addition I have is underneath the Planning Commission report to add Regional Marketing Initiative by Mr. Jepson.
Should we move the budget till after public comment in case anybody wants to leave? If they've got public comment and they want to leave first?
I'm in favor of doing that, just in case they...
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. And then if they want to stick around and
If they want to stick around, they're welcome to stick around, but if they have
Okay, so we're
comment,
gonna put public comment up above budget. Okay.
I'll make a motion to do it as stated.
I'll second it.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Passes unanimously. I will entertain a motion to adopt the minutes of the November 12th, 2021 Select Board meeting.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
Any additions, corrections, deletions to the minutes? All those in favor of adopting the minutes as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Me.
One abstention, Haynes. Okay, 4 yes, 1 abstention. Planning Commission report by Shelley Taylor, and before we get into your report, Shelley, we've been requested to add you as a voting member to the Rutland Emergency Management Committee.
I make a motion that we add Shelley to the, as a voting, or as a member to the Rutland Regional Emergency Management
Committee.
Committee.
And is there a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Haynes. Any discussion? So we now get 2 votes on that committee. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any abstentions? Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay, Shelley, you're on.
We did not have a Danby Planning Commission meeting. We meet quarterly now, and we will not have another meeting until January of 2022. It'll be the first Thursday, is that right? First Thursday of the month.
What was that, January what?
I think it's the 6th.
7th, 6th, something like that.
Yeah,
Okay.
6th. It's the first Thursday.
Yeah, it'll be the 6th.
And that'll be here at the town office at 6. I know we talked about changing it earlier, but I don't think that happened. So I don't have anything to report from there, but Rutland Regional, I attended the meeting virtually a couple weeks ago. And on the Act 250 committee, we, most of the meeting was taken up by a presentation from the contractor or the company who's looking to replace the windmill on Grandpa's Knob in, I believe it's in Castleton. And apparently, and I was unaware of this until that night, but apparently this windmill has been there since, it's been there for 80 years. And it needs to be replaced. And they're proposing, and this was just a preliminary, they're reaching out to the surrounding towns that it may affect. And there was quite a bit of pushback from members of, the public from different areas, different towns, West Rutland. I didn't hear anything from Ira, but there was quite a little bit of pushback. So there will, and this was just them coming before the board to give their presentation about what they intend to do. And I'm sure we will hear more about that in the future. And at the the full board meeting that follows pretty much immediately after, most of the meeting was taken up by a presentation from Barbara, a noise pulling, and Hillary Solomon about their project. I believe
Flower Brook.
Yes, the Flower Brook, the climate change and stuff. I believe you guys received that at the last select board meeting. And it was just, again, a heads up, this is what they're gonna do. And, they're gonna start meeting, and they were looking for more members. But I'm not sure what that looks like. And that is pretty much it.
What about our hazard mitigation?
Oh, I'm sorry, hazard mitigation, which is a separate thing. We met last night. Tom Johnston was not in attendance, but Tom Fuller and myself and Stephanie from the Rutland Regional Planning Commission and Phil Lidstone from Mount Tabor. And we have decided at this point to step back. We have a 6-month extension, and we've decided to step back and revisit Section 5 about the different hazards in the town and identify them more accurately. And there'll be more discussion on that later. It was a good meeting.
Okay, thank you, Shelley.
That's all I got. I'm gonna stick that in.
Very good. Okay, so now we will move on to the Rutland Regional Marketing Initiative with Lyle Jepson.
Thank you very much. I think we're as efficient as Shelley is, so we'll get through this. Thank you for having us. I'm the Executive Director of the Chamber of Economic Development, and we are a result of the merger of the Rutland Region Chamber of Commerce and Rutland Economic Development Corporation about 1.5 years ago. Kim Roof is here with me, and Kim is our Communications and Community Engagement Director. And you are donors to, sponsors of our Regional Marketing Initiative, for which we wanted to come and thank you.
Excuse me, how do you spell your last name?
RUPE.
Thank you.
Last year, you allowed us to put on the ballot an item that the voters of the community have voted in favor of, to put $1 per person into the budget to pay for part of the Regional Marketing Initiative. And it's incumbent upon us to come back to you and tell you, well, what do we use that money for? And we want to show you some statistics. I want to show you how we use the money. And then we want to ask your permission to do the process again, and you can tell us, or Jennifer can tell us what that process would be to request the funding again for this coming year. I make it sound like it's going to take a long time. We will not be here for a long time. So Kim has some statistics she wants to show you about what your money is buying, and then I can show you the money itself.
Well, thank you for having us tonight and your continued support. I'll leave it extra one, so there's somebody on the phone, right? Yes. So we have just wrapped up year 5 and are about to enter year 6 of our regional marketing initiative known as Real Rutland. As I'm sure you can imagine, it takes some time to make a move, which is for a lot of these people across the country. So we're excited to be able to share data this year and see this really come to life as we enter year 6. So couple high-level data points. We've seen over 100 individuals move into Rutland County as a result of our marketing initiative and the concierge program. That equals out to about 50 families. So some of these people are moving here as single working professionals. Some of them are families of 2, some are families of 5. So 100 individuals, approximately 50 families. We're seeing them move into many towns throughout Rutland County. Obviously, many are moving into the city of Rutland, but we are seeing an uptick in people moving into those smaller rural towns, especially with the pandemic. Through our concierge program, which I don't know how familiar you are with that, it is a complimentary service to individuals and families that are looking to move here. We match people who are volunteers in this community with someone who's looking to move here. We match them with very similar interests and qualities so that they can help answer questions about what life in Rutland County looks like. help with networking and finding employment and housing opportunities here as well. We do have someone who's a volunteer from Danby, but we are always looking for more volunteers so we can have a broader county-wide representation. So if you know anyone that might be interested, feel free to send them my way. Some of the industries that we're seeing these people join are obviously remote workers. I'm sure that doesn't surprise you. Healthcare workers and nonprofit leaders are some of the most common areas. On the back, very quickly, we are wrapping up Q4 of this year's marketing plan. So we're using strategies such as social media, paid search, Killington TV to highlight the people that are here for ski and snowboard season, and some display marketing. So you'll see that all on the back. And then we have just some general statistics on the bottom. Over 3,000 folks on Facebook, just over 1,900 on Instagram. And we send about bi-weekly emails to everyone in the queue. We have just over 4,600 individuals across the country that are reading those, with about a 20% open rate, which is very high for comparable industries. So that's what I have. If anyone doesn't have any questions, I'll just kick it right back over to Lyle.
And you might say 100 people in 5 years, seems like there ought to be more than that in 5 years. Well, those are the people that we know have gone through our service. There are others that we know that have moved here, but we're not counting those because we don't know if they're really ours that we caught or did they come for another reason. So these are the ones we know that talked to a concierge, met with a concierge, and have been convinced to move here. And the money that's behind that, and again, we thank you for that, over the last 5 years, we've spent $544,000. And we have a little bit of money in the bank that will get us through to the point where we will be able to begin to see funding come in again from our municipalities. And at the top there, you'll see the revenue. And the revenue is primarily coming in large part from the business community. You see that $360,000 figure. Rutland City has put in $154,000. And then other municipalities such as yourself around the county have put in $60,000, and we've got a grant for 30 there. We have more requests out for grants. And we look at this as a 10-year plan. That marketing isn't something that you do once and then you walk away from it. You have to stay in front of people. Everybody recognizes the Nike swoosh. It's always in front of us. And then you can see how we've spent the money through our marketing firm, our targeted marketing, television, print, digital, and obviously the digital is pretty high. That's where everybody's going these days. Everybody lives on their phone. Now you might also want to know what other communities are participating. You don't want to be the only one putting money in. And you might like to see which businesses are contributing. And so that, at the top of this, you'll see businesses are contributing and at what rate they're contributing. We have great support from the business community because they, well, you know, you can't go anywhere without seeing a help wanted sign. And if you go to the hospital, they will tell you they have 120 openings every single day. And so they are great supporters of us, as are those other larger companies that you see on there. And then you see the other towns that are participating. Not every town is participating, and that's okay. The list is growing, and that's what we like to see. And so we started this initiative because we knew that we were an aging population, we were losing population. Quite frankly, we're still losing population, other than Killington, which was the fastest growing town in the state of Vermont during COVID, which makes sense because has the second home community.
So was that people just moving into their second homes and making it a full-time
We're bringing
home?
their families. If you go to Killington Elementary School, let's say, we got, 28 new kids, and it was really quite a big growth for their size community. So we started this for the business community because they couldn't find help. And we knew our population was declining. And if we want to keep the services in our towns that we have become accustomed to through taxation of us, we'd like to spread that around a little bit and have more people contributing to that. So that's how the money's been spent. And you have been great supporters. in the last year at $1,300 towards that. I don't know if that's exactly one person per town, but that was how we were asking folks to do it. And we would answer any questions you have, and we would love to ask you to put it back on the ballot this year if that's the process that is most appropriate.
We need a letter from you.
Yeah. If that is the process you'd like us to follow, I will be sending a letter to Jennifer indicating our request. I will send her information on the funding as well and how we've used the money. And we have a letter that we asked if you want to put in your town report. We'll do that as
The
well.
letter should actually go to the town clerk because she prepares the ballot.
That we will do.
And are we back to needing signatures for that, or is,
No.
okay.
No, once they're on there, all they have to do is a yearly letter asking to renew it.
We must have done a great job because I don't hear.
No,
any
it was
questions.
quite, it was a lot of detail there. Every question that I had written down as you guys started, you answered like you were reading.
Well, we get the same questions over and over again. So, how are you using my money? What do you want? And what are we going to get? So, you deserve answers to those questions. And if you want a little more propaganda about what we're doing, we always have to leave a little bit of this. And this is that kind of stuff that you put on your bookcase at home because you're not sure if you're supposed to read it or throw it away.
Okay.
And eventually your wife throws it away, so, because you didn't read it.
Oh, give us something to do during budgeting.
If you don't have questions, we would love to hear all about your budget, but we've heard a couple of these before, and we appreciate the fact that you put the budget at the end, so.
Okay, well, thank you very much for
Thank
coming
you.
out on this cold evening.
We will get a letter to you. Thanks so much.
Yeah. I'm going to, if you guys don't need anything else from me.
Okay, no, you're good. Thank you, Shelley.
You're welcome.
Good night.
Good night now. So the next item is a discussion of equipment regarding the tractor that we need to purchase and a mower. And I don't know between you two gentlemen, I know you've had conversations. Who wants to kick it off?
Yeah, I mean, need to purchase a tractor, but I don't know if we're at that yet, are we, or have you?
The only thing that I'm not sure on, you were gonna talk with Dave,
Yes,
and have you talked with him?
I haven't seen Dave this week, no.
Okay. I have
Dave is with who?
Dave Hossley.
Okay.
He has one of the rear mounts that,
He has a rear mount mower that is a possibility that Tom and I are debating.
So you would be buying a used one?
No.
Oh.
No, we're looking at new equipment, but for mowing roadsides, a mid-mount is a much more convenient mower because you're not turned around looking back as much. But there's a huge price difference to where I wanted to explore both options, and Dave Hossley being the person that we know of that has the rear mount mower who does a lot of roadside mowing. Tom and I felt would be a good person to find out if it was the right mower or not.
Sure.
So at this point, I think
we're still
we're still in,
Investigating.
investigating.
yeah. Cause right now, I mean, I run equipment hooked behind me, so I'm not opposed to a rear mount, but if Tom talks with Dave and he says, no, it's the worst mistake I ever made buying that mower, then
And do you have any information on turnaround time buying these things? Because like I see an awful lot of empty space on car dealership parking lots and so forth.
depending on the tractor, depending on the mower, we could have one next month. It could be 6 months.
Okay.
And I think the biggest thing that I think we should buy the right mower instead of rush on them. Or, you know, make sure we buy the exact mower and not let the dictation of when they tell us they're available. If it means, you know, going outside of the closer dealers to, you know, to explore that. If it's sort of like going to New Hampshire and getting a pickup as opposed to the ones here in town that didn't have any. There was a million over there, but I'm not sure if we have to just expand our search radius a little bit. But we're not to the point yet anyways. Or I don't feel we are.
No, I think you're right, and we definitely need to look at both possibilities.
Yeah. And I think if it would be good if next meeting we had at least a good collaboration of what it is, and so we could get it ordered by the end of Feb or January. And
the only thing with pushing it out further is with the inflation that we're seeing now, the price is gonna go up. I know the price of the complete package right now is up about 30,000 from what it was this spring when I priced everything.
How much?
About 30,000.
Whoa. Well, I think you're on the right track.
Well, it's got quite a few months we're gonna worry about mowing the roadsides anyway, so we've got plenty of time to do something.
yeah, I think the only concern, Doug, is
Delivery.
the delivery time. But I hate the dealers trying to pressure us into, you know, last chance to ever get the last tractor ever made. So I'm not gonna, or at least personally, I don't think that should dictate how we purchase. I mean, I think there's a lot of relevant, you know, that what they're telling us has some truth to it, but I don't think that they've shut the factories down completely, so.
Okay, anything else on the tractor? We have had only one application for the, what we're gonna call a temporary road crew position from as soon as possible till, the end of March. And that was Bobby Halligan, who lives here in town. So I will entertain a motion to make a conditional offer of employment to Robert Halligan for the position of road crew equipment operator, subject to completion of a driving record check and pre-employment drug screening. So I heard it moved by Doug White. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. So I trust our road commissioner will be in touch with him and
Yep.
get the drug
Have him
screening.
get his drug screening done and start immediately.
Good. I think that's great. We can get caught up on some of that brush that needs to be cut, and we'll have a good man there plowing. Any on your road commissioner's report, Tom?
Well, I guess everyone's seen that we've started getting a little winter, and as expected, some of the weak links and some of the equipment it was found. The international truck had a few hydraulic lines that we had to repair. The third guy coming on, I think, is going to help with the times of getting the roads plowed. That's, I think, is obviously going to cut our times down by a third. And that's about it for this month.
I'd like to add that I think that Larry and Randy are doing a pretty good job so far with just the two of them.
Yeah, no,
I know the other day they did the whole town in 6 hours, and that's pretty good.
yeah, no, that first storm with the trees down, I was out with them till about 1 in the morning, and we were doing as much tree moving as we were snow plowing, and there was quite a bit of snow up in the hills. I mean, there must have been a foot close to it up by Steve's house, so, no, they've been doing a great job.
Good, thank you. Anything new on the ARPA funds, Mike?
We've had no more information. Still waiting for more from the guy from the planning commission to tell us what we can or cannot do with the regulations. Whatever we do, that they will audit, so we have to make sure the money is used for what they allow.
So their interim guidance is still the same, basically?
Yeah.
So that it seems like, now when is it gonna be adopted final?
The last we were told was up till April. There's been nothing that I've read or can find. I was searching on it this afternoon.
So have we received any of that money? But we don't know how we can spend it
Correct.
100% yet, so we really kind of want to make sure it's well within the guidance that,
Yes.
Yeah. So it's sitting in the bank, gaining a tiny bit of interest.
Yep.
Okay. Before we go into our budget deliberations, is there any comment from the public? Tracy?
Hi, guys. On the last meeting, you said you were going to request resignation letters from the auditors. Did you receive any?
We did not.
And what was the reason exactly for you requesting?
Because they have been totally derelict in their duties. They have not showed up once since they were elected in March. We sent certified letters to them. We got a very insulting letter back from one of them calling the letter silly. And Jennifer has been in communication with them at least 5 times, between 5 and 10 times, asking them to come in and reconcile the monthly statements, which is their job. It's not illegal, but it is not a good idea for the treasurer to reconcile her own statements or his own statements. And they simply don't come in. So outside of getting that one response, I do believe you have one of the auditors scheduled to come in tomorrow? Monday.
Yes.
So that's where we're at. We have no recourse to fire them because they're elected, they're not hired. So, as we say, it is what it is.
Okay, also, I have another question. In the last meeting, you said you used, you budgeted out $50,000 for sand and gravel and stuff for the season, but the town only used $40,000
Last year.
last year. So then this year, you said you were thinking about budgeting $55,000,
we haven't discussed budgeting yet this year.
but in the last meeting, you gave that number.
No, that was what fiscal year 21 was, and then we were talking about fiscal year 22, which is already budgeted. We haven't talked anything about fiscal year 23, which is the new budget.
Okay, so the 50,000 you had and you used 40 of it, there's 10,000 left over. Does that get rolled over to this one, or?
Goes into the general fund.
Right. Not necessarily. So, you know, if something else happened, a truck had a severe problem, we could use the money for that. It's in the general fund.
If lawyers' fees went way over, it would be spent on that, out of that.
Road washes out. You know, the list goes on and on.
And one more, an oldie but a goodie. When are you gonna start doing virtual meetings?
The item was not seconded, which according to Robert's rules means it's done, it's dead, that's the end of it.
Even with this COVID outbreak, you're still not gonna do virtual? And what is your reason besides what you gave before?
There is no other reason.
Are you sure about that?
Yes.
Is it because you keep getting caught?
Because what?
You keep getting caught?
Caught?
Well, you tried to do the ATV thing, that didn't pass. Then you tried to slide in that conflict of interest, and that didn't pass because they had virtual meetings.
It passed.
After you changed it back, to what the original one was. And then after that, you didn't want any more meetings because people didn't agree. Is that why you're
Well,
allowing them?
if that's your perception of it, that's your right to feel that way. We've discussed it, it's over and done with.
Now it's gonna be on the ballot in March.
Well, then you can.
And also, I heard it was all set up and paid for through March 2022. So where did that, what'd you do with the rest of that money?
Well, it was $150 for the year, correct?
Right.
And you pay it up front. It goes to them. They get the $150 for the year.
Who is them?
The company. Go to meeting, you pay it up front. And we did a year's subscription and to get us through the points where we needed. So basically it cost us, what was it, probably $40 a meeting or something, to have that.
Yeah, so I just don't understand why you won't do it. You're so stubborn, you don't. It's wanted by a lot of people in this community. It's needed because of the COVID. People want to be involved and they can't because they don't dare to come to the meetings because none of you are wearing masks. It's ridiculous. There's a reason why you're not doing it.
I'm not gonna say anything more, I'm not gonna say anything more about it, Tracy. We discussed it and it's done, so I'm not gonna keep beating a dead horse.
It's not a dead horse.
Okay. Anything else from the public? Okay, we will then move on to our budget discussion.
Does everyone have a copy of it?
No.
No. I got it on my phone, I don't have it on my.
Jan? I know I'm asking of you. I printed mine.
I printed mine.
That's in my email on my computer. My phone.
Is this the one you want?
The one that's this way is probably the easiest to work off, and I mean, at least that I like.
Is that the same as this?
I don't
Is
know.
that the same as that? Well, you just
Do
do
the
that
same
and get me a
budgets.
copy of that.
Do you have keys for next door, Brett?
You can do it right there. Oh, I guess you want to collate it, yeah, that would be a lot easier. What's that?
This one's temperamental anyway.
Yeah, that's an oldie but goodie. It's been through, I think, 2 reappraisals and quite an old workhorse.
Tom, did you want these quotes?
They're those copies? Or are they the only ones?
They're all the ones.
Well,
Do you want to be trusted with them?
I would much rather have a copy of them, which, we can make copies afterwards if you want.
Well,
You want me to, start a folder that says
Yeah,
tractor?
that would be real good. Thank you. And then you can scan it in and we can have them at, perfect, thanks. And that way we can all grab to them, and when we're talking,
Right.
we can actually see them on our phones. Actually, either one would work out for 'em. I printed both of them. I was just looking for the easiest one to go down through with, but
Well, you could have printed extras.
I thought, Smike, that you probably had a printer off your phone. The federal government provides them, you know.
Well, since they don't provide me with a phone.
If it did, it would be experiencing heavier than normal call volume.
Thank you, Jan.
Thank you.
Oh, I don't got one?
They're the same. They're the same. We can start on page 2 of the one that 3 of us have. In the 07 category, or 017s.
Administration?
Because this one actually, even though
Are
it
we
doesn't-
looking at the same page?
Yeah, I mean, we're looking at, yeah, the actual for the, in the budget and the actual for the 22 fiscal year.
Okay.
Which will start, I mean, if we, I guess under revenues, I don't think there's anything we need to go over on that. Is there, we can just start with, actual
Right, yeah, no,
expenditures.
we don't
Yeah.
really have control over revenue.
Yeah, no, I didn't know if anybody wanted to throw in anything on
Yes.
that revenues were gonna change drastically or anything, but, so item 1 on there is the select board salaries at $4,250. I don't think anyone's looking for any raises, are they? That's,
Probably not, I just
Then I would say-
volunteer my time away.
yeah, no, I do too. So we would probably put that back in at the same. Ballots for the clerk.
I don't see any extra elections coming up or anything.
Now, I guess my question is why didn't we spend any ballots for the clerks in the, we haven't had an election in this fiscal, we didn't have any elections, have we yet? That's why.
No.
So, yeah, July 1st till now. So we have one election, meaning the
Town meeting.
town meeting election. And the ballots have always been $2,000 and the expenditures with the postal fees. Just trying to see what we spent in the 21 fiscal thing. Ballots. We spent, they budgeted,
4,000.
they spent $630 in fiscal 21. Fiscal 22, I'm I mean, I don't know because they're gonna be mailing ballots, I assume, still in the spring. So I'm not sure if we're paying more for them or if we,
And it might be reimbursed by the state.
well, under ballots and clerks, do you wanna just go with the $2,000 or do you wanna, has anyone got any?
Well, the ballot clerks is,
That's their
Oh, that's
salary.
the
clerks.
people, that's the
Okay.
clerks.
Election expense would be where the postage would go in.
Okay, sorry. So are we gonna go with the clerks, or it's $2,000, or do you wanna lower it to 1,000? We were under it before.
You never know what happens if there has to be
Okay,
another election or a recount.
then let's just go with the same across the board. We're not going up. That's
Right.
election expenses was $4,000. We used $1,444 in '21. We have nothing in '22 right now. So we don't have a comparative yet, but is there any expenses that we're unaware of that are going up, or?
Can't think of any.
So are we looking to go with the same? Okay, let's just go with the same 4,000 then. Medicare, the FICA, our salaries went up by 2%. I'm not sure if we need to raise that by the 2% as well, which would,
Shouldn't have to raise it, there's $9,000 budgeted and you're using 3,100.
all right,
Yeah,
we'll go with the 9,000 then.
should be plenty.
Unemployment of $400. I'm not sure why they put that in as a line item, but,
There was an issue with the assistant town clerk.
oh, okay. Yeah, and we had to pay so in case there's any more claims, you're saying we want to put the 400 in? Workers' comp insurance. Our insurances have, Jen, what's our years on our workers' comp? Does that come around in April, or is that what I'm saying is, have we seen an increase or decrease? Ours, yeah, because no, it's through one of the general insurance companies.
I believe it's January to December. But I can check on that.
And I guess the municipalities, are they audited like the private companies too, and we pay the difference if it's up or down?
And sometimes we get a refund.
Refund back, and I didn't know if with our experience mod if we were going down, but if our rate goes up as far as their truck drivers and stuff.
You comfortable keeping that the same, Jennifer?
I will look at that.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, we can just put a question mark next to that one. It doesn't need to be decided today. I guess the other thing is too, is on all these insurances, I think what we need to do is see what because we have our auto liability insurance, I guess that's the only, our health insurance, is that gone up or down, or I'm assuming it went up 5 or 10%. And these are all things that you can answer in an email if you're not going to be able to just, I didn't expect you to find it immediately, but I guess what we're gonna need from you is health insurance if it's where it's at, the life insurance, and the buildings and auto liability insurance for, which if they're January policies, they're gonna have to go into fiscal '23 halfway. So we won't put any, numbers in for the liability, the health, the life, for the time being. Now, town officers training. I did skip that. Is that does Jen fall under the training? And so I saw we did
The
use.
auditors, I sent them information about training. They didn't do anything with it.
Well-
Any elected,
Do we feel comfortable with $500? I think we went over on our training.
yeah, I think 500 is low, but,
So there is a line for treasurer training, and it's under the treasurer section.
Okay, so the 500 doesn't have to go for you, it can go for the general elected officials. So do we want to leave that at $500 for training?
I think so, because a lot of this now is virtual, so you don't get into mileage reimbursement or any of that.
Okay. Legal fees. Could we lower them this year?
I don't see why not.
They were budgeted at $18,000, we used $705. If we, I mean, I don't think we want to cut them drastically, but to maybe 10,000?
Sounds reasonable.
Yes.
Well, anyone who knows the county tax, where's that going?
That's based on a percentage of your grand list.
Right.
Like in 21, we were over budget, so.
Yeah, it was 14,059, they'd only budgeted 12,000. So, do we want to stick with the 14,250 and,
I would say, yeah.
okay. Advertising. I guess that covers the advertising for employees and anything else?
If you had to advertise a special meeting, selling property.
Well, we used $353 of it. Are we gonna, do you wanna, is our advertising still go with a generic 1,000 or?
I think it makes sense.
Okay. Rutland Regional Planning Commission. The grant that we got, or the money we got, I did find out last night, I didn't realize this, we can do as in-kind. So as long as we all participate on that flood hazard mitigation, we can actually come bring the amount we need to pay towards that down. So that was gonna come up at the end of the meeting, but we'll discuss it anyways for more participation. But the 2,750 is, how, do you remember how you guys came to that before?
It was a contract that they gave us.
Right. So are we planning on another one? Should we plan on another contract or with them or?
I would say so.
Okay. Is everyone thinking stay the same with the Rutland Regional?
Yep, sounds good.
Vermont Leagues of Cities and Towns.
Yeah. They verified that.
Yeah.
And it's going up just a few dollars, so I would just make that an even 2,700. It's going to be $2,701.
So 2,700. Yep. The building reserve fund.
I don't see anything
The 20 should be for the
going on.
slide
in the
away.
Future.
That gives us a nice extra if you don't have a lot going on of big stuff that,
Pretty well caught up.
okay. So you're saying you think that the 20,000 into that fund for maintenance future is the way to go, or are you thinking that we could cut it?
I think we can cut it.
Okay, what do you, I mean, we don't
I'd cut
want
it by at least half.
okay, we'll go to 10,000. DanbyVermont.org.
That's our website.
And do we know the fees, if they're changing this year, or if they're,
No, I see.
Didn't we just pay a bill for $900 for the year? Something around 900?
So far this year, we've spent $665.
So 900 should be plenty.
so you're thinking 900 should cover the interest, tax, and donations. I don't see that we really need to budget anything there. And I'm not sure what the donation was for the $200 in the fiscal 22.
No, it was there in 21 also.
It's kind of a placeholder. What has happened in the past with that money is if somebody passes away and they've been an important person in the town,
They donate it.
we'll send
flowers.
refreshments,
Okay.
like a cold cup.
No, that's a good
fire,
idea.
that
So we'll put 200.
funeral reception or something.
Let's put 200 there. All right. On to the town office. Office supplies of $3,500.
I have asked the town clerk and the listers and Jennifer, you know, I've told them that we're working on the budget tonight. If they had any requests to get them to me, nobody came through with anything different. So I'm basically in favor of keeping those numbers the same.
Okay. Now, postage, are we comfortable with that? And postage did go up again, but are we thinking, I mean, it seems though we had, this is only a few months into this budget. Postage. I mean, in 21, they only spent $1,100. So, okay,
Can I interrupt you for a
Yep.
minute? I think I ran your report wrong. Your report that you're looking at, because I ran it up to October, and I did not run it for the entire year.
which is, so you're saying it's 1 month we're missing?
So if you're looking at your report, like with your postage, from last year, we budgeted $3,500, and we actually spent $3,814. So the report that you have, I only ran it up to October.
So probably we should make that 4,000.
So probably should print you out a new report, so you have like the entire year versus October, I didn't even think.
But, I mean, we have a pretty good idea there, so I would say 4,000 should be a...
Yep. If you could print that while we're doing this, is,
I can do that right now.
yeah, no, it's not gonna change this drastically, and this is only our first time through. I plan on going through it 20 times today, just each column. I mean, so when we get to the 20th time, we'd like to have that one.
You'll be here by yourself when you get to the
Yeah.
20th time.
Office equipment, reserve. for that copier that's over there. Or do you want to put another 1,500 into your reserve?
I'd like to put a little more into it.
I would. The price of electronics ain't getting any cheaper.
No.
So are we saying more, or you're saying
Just
another
leave it at
1,500?
1,500, but I'm saying I wouldn't take away.
No.
Okay.
So you want to make it 3,000 or 2,500?
I would leave it 1,500 if you're just putting it in the reserve fund.
Oh, you want to keep it the same?
I mean, if, this is like the building fund, you're putting money in every year and it's
Right.
piling up, right?
As long as it doesn't get spent somewhere, yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Copier lease of $2,700.
yeah. That's for the good one, and that's locked in.
So I'm assuming it's $2,700 a year? Okay. Equipment maintenance of $400. Did we, I mean, what is our biggest maintenance item? The copiers that we,
Well,
The copiers, the typewriters, because they need the typewriters for land records.
records.
and index cards.
Do you have that one?
I'll go ahead and make copies.
Okay, thanks.
And don't forget me this time, please.
Sorry for that.
$400 on the maintenance.
Or maybe 5, because I'm thinking that machine's gonna need work.
Okay.
I know it needs work right now, it doesn't top
All right,
feed.
$500.
Yeah.
Electricity for the town office. I guess the current thing is what we're, 3,600. I don't think it's electricity going up at all.
I haven't heard anything about any more rate increases, have you?
Well, no, but my concern is the next one we're coming on to of heating oil.
Yeah.
We're now heating, and we don't have a category for it, so I don't know if we want to, because we're heating the garage as well. With,
But that, I think, is in a separate...
we don't have a category for the garage.
Oh, okay, that,
So I'm saying, do we want to start another one, or just put heating oil under heating oil and, or break them down into?
I think we ought to put the garages, heating oil under the garage.
Okay.
yeah,
Well, I'm just hoping that the oil guy, when he comes, doesn't just fill them both and give us
One slip.
one slip anyways, because it would be nice to break them down. But we can start a column on the garage for the, because computer assistant. Just gonna see where our town garage, what we, yeah, see, we don't even, okay, we don't have a, under your building maintenance, we were using one general category for both buildings. So, I don't know if it matters if we,
no, I think we're using 2 categories.
where's your garage?
Wasn't the
Well, the
garage?
garage one is back there under highway department.
Yeah, but all the work that was just done on the garage, didn't that come out of the reserve fund?
Yeah,
Yeah, so that's,
yeah, now this is just general maintenance. So that's in account 0274535, and then up here where we are now in administration is account 0171535, building and grounds maintenance.
Oh, it's on the back, great. So, back to the heating oil. Um,
$5,000?
It could get pricey.
are we including the garage on this, or this is
No.
just for this building?
Just this building.
Okay, so for just the heating oil for the town office, we'll up that to 4,000 or 5,000. I mean, heating oil this year is real expensive compared to last year in our,
Well, if you go to 5, you're covered.
All right, that's what I suggested.
okay.
Have you ever thought of pre-buying, like doing it next spring for the next winter?
Some years that screws you.
We haven't gotten started yet.
Well, I've known people that have gotten screwed by it because the company they bought from locked them in at that, and that's,
Oh, but they have all kinds of deals, you know?
Thank you.
Telephone. Now, why did we have $3,600 in a telephone? Our phone system's that expensive?
Well, we're up to 3,300 right now, so.
Right.
Well, there's data and stuff that they charge in there.
Okay, we probably ought to go up to $4,000 then.
Yeah. I'd always rather be able to say that, you know, we didn't spend all the money than to have to.
Fiscal year 21 paid.
You good with 4,000?
Yep.
And then your maintenance is 1,000. Should be plenty.
Okay.
I mean, it's basically like only if an accident happens, you know, a rock goes through the window or something.
Right. Mileage, seems though, well, looks like,
Figure.
I guess we want to leave that the same and just leave it as a generic,
Yeah, because probably what's gonna happen is the mileage reimbursement figure's going to go up,
okay.
since fuel is going up, and then,
All right. Okay, on to computer support. Training of $300. Now, this is for all, and I guess I just want to make sure is,
now there's another 300 for the treasurer.
yeah, the treasurer training, and that's what I was looking. I
There's
wanted-
lister training, and
Okay.
there's auditor training.
Yeah, clerk training, lister training.
So this would be more or less training for the select board if we want to go to a conference on buying equipment or something.
All right, leave it at 300.
I'm good with that.
Yeah.
Software support. Now, is this the NIMRIC software support? Is this supporting, do we have another software?
No, that's the only one we have, right, Jennifer?
And right now we've spent $5,600 for this year.
We had 10,100. Why was it that it had the, the 10,100 budgeted previous? I didn't know if maybe some reason something came up that was an actual number, or?
Just see here. It may have been thinking that with the reappraisal, there might have been new software, and I know they did get some new software.
So do you want to stick with the 10,000, or can we lower that this
I
year?
think we can lower it. I think
Back to the
8. I put it back to 8.
Okay. Network server, that's the town server?
That's the cloud.
That's the cloud. Where is the cloud?
I can't tell you. If I tell you, they're gonna kill me.
1,000 still?
Should be good.
Audit reserve fund
Again, that's building up
for,
the next time around.
so we want to stick with the same thing because the next time we have to do it, we'll have it in a,
Yeah.
okay.
And I might even suggest raising that one because we were shy this time around.
Raising it to,
At least 3, if not 35.
wait, your audit reserve fund we're talking.
Yeah.
We got 10K.
That 10,000
You got 10,000 in it
for,
for fiscal year. It was, this year was audited, this year was 10,000, we spent 300.
I guess the bills are not all the way in yet then because it was $21,000 for the audit. The contract.
We've spent 12,900 right now.
So we're still waiting on a bill then.
So we're probably better do another 12,000? That would cover the next,
Yeah.
Yeah.
all right.
The town hall, I think, can come out of there. I mean, that's no more.
Yep.
Got that, Jen?
All right, town clerk. So the fiscal year 21, it was 29,999 out of the $30,000.
It's damn good budgeting right there.
Yeah. So far in our 6 months, the clerk's salary didn't change, right?
No.
So that's the only thing that's gotta come out of that, so we can just budget the same. The assistant clerk of 19,431.
How come we need a assistant clerk to work 24 hours a week and our town clerk only works 13? So I think our assistant clerk should be getting less hours. I don't think we gotta give her 24 hours a week. If our town clerk only has to work 13, that means you don't really need assistant for 24 hours a week. So I think we should set our system back about half.
I guess the only thing, Doug, is there's so you're thinking that the clerk, the clerk's hours would stay the same, or you want to increase the clerk's hours?
I think Janice's hours should be more than 13 hours a week. I think she should work more and Colette work less. Because if Janice only got to work 13 hours, why do we have to have a system for 24 hours?
Well, I think, I'm assuming she's...
Well, she's not working what you're saying. She works 18 hours a week.
She works 18?
Yeah.
Yep.
She works Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, even though she doesn't advertise being open
What's
on
18
Friday.
times, or the, divided by the 18 for...
Who works Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays?
Janice does.
Janice does. Well, she don't work only just at noon. She's usually gone at noon every day.
For about
So she only
5 minutes.
Gets there at 9, she leaves at noon.
She goes down to the post office at noon and gets the mail.
an hour.
Maybe stops for a
That's
sandwich.
900 hours, right?
I
50,
think what we should
50
do is
weeks.
put her on
Oh, okay,
an
sorry,
hourly
yeah,
pay.
yeah.
$3 an hour.
18 hours a week is
When you
33.
take 30,000, divide 52, you get 576 a week,
Divided by 18.
32
Because
bucks
when
an hour.
we're two
$32.
clown clerks together, we're up talking $50,000.
Well, I guess the only question I have, Doug, is if you want to increase the clerk's hours, right now she's making $32 an hour as a clerk. What do you think she should make an hour?
Well, if she's there as many hours as she says she is, it'd be one thing, but you know she's not.
Well, that's not the question, though, is, I mean,
$30 an hour, pretty good pay, I'd say.
well, I mean, you got a 30-year-plus clerk, or close to it. What do you think a clerk should make?
Well, if we're gonna give her $30,000 a year, I don't think we should have to have their assistant clerk working more hours than the town clerk.
But what I'm trying to get at is, if you want to cut the assistant's hours and have her work more, we have to either compensate the clerk more, or you're saying you want the clerk to make less than the $32 an hour.
No, if the clerk should be able to handle, every other town don't have assistant town clerk for that many hours a week.
Well,
The town
The
works
only-
1 or 2 days a week and that's it.
the only thing is we would have to close the office more and not provide the ability. So are you thinking that we should close the office more and provide less hours?
I don't see any sense of having it open that many hours now. Our treasurer's not there hardly at all, so what difference does it make if the clerk's here?
In
Well,
how,
people need to do land research, and that's what, there's been a ton of that going on lately. Every time somebody wants to refinance, every time a property changes hands, the lawyers are in here a lot.
and I don't think we want to cut services to the general public. I mean, it makes it more inconvenient to people. I mean, if someone wants to buy or sell or do something, it actually affects commerce a little bit.
They want to buy dump stickers, they want a dog license, they want a car registration, all these things go through here.
So I guess I'm not in favor of cutting the hours at that the office is open, Doug. But I guess the next question is, are you thinking they're overpaid?
No, I don't think Janice, if she's going to work, better work and get her 30,000. But I don't think we need a assistant clerk for 20,000 to be there the same day Janice is there. So that all they do is sit there and on the computer back and forth and play. I mean,
Play?
we need two people there the same day. If we're going to have an assistant should work the days that the town clerk don't work.
Now, what are our overlap days? There's one day of overlap or no?
Monday and Wednesday,
So Colette is actually working,
4 days a week.
yeah, but her Tuesday and Thursday, she works alone.
Yes.
So the Monday, Wednesday, they have double people here.
Right.
So Colette's working 4 days a week for 19,000. I don't know, Doug, that's a pretty good price for getting the coverage of having somebody.
Yeah, but why do we need two people there? That's what
I mean, I guess that question, I mean, I'm not gonna answer it for the clerk because I'm sure she can answer it for herself if she feels she needs the, and this isn't the finalize of it. I'm sure we can just discuss this, or actually we can, I don't know, our best bet of asking the clerk. I don't think she wanted to attend the budget meeting, but we can ask her and get her a response on it if you want. We can just pencil these in for now and leave question marks, because like I said, this is the first draft of many.
Oh, I know. It's going to be a lot of scraps.
All right, so we'll try to get some answer from the clerk on the days that they have the two here. So for now, we'll just leave it the same and, okay. The clerk retirement, I'm assuming that's something that's built into the,
Right.
training. We want to leave that in there?
I would.
Okay. Town treasurer.
I'd keep all the categories the same there.
Town treasurer.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I say we keep her salary staying at 30,000 because she doesn't email us any reports or warrants, and she hasn't refunded any overpayments on taxes yet either. And she's never there. And
Well,
Dougie needs.
I guess Doug, for the record, I'm gonna disagree with you on that because I've had a lot of conversations with Jen. On Saturdays, we get a lot done, so I know she's in here Saturday mornings.
And I've also signed the checks for all the refunds, so you're wrong there, Doug.
So I guess for you to say that she's never there, I'm totally disagreeing with you on that.
Oh, I don't say never there. She's not there a lot of the time when people go in to pay their taxes.
Well, she's posted her hours, and she and her assistant were here when it was tax time.
In the same way and Dougie wanted the reports so he could do his treasurer or his work, and she would not give him the.
She sent it to him.
Computer.
She sent it to him.
All right, on to listers' salaries. Are we gonna just leave those items all the same?
I think the listers' salaries could go down. They've never used the 15,000.
Okay, what are you thinking we wanna run them down to?
12 at least.
Lister salaries.
Yeah.
Okay, we're talking about, since we don't use the full 15, Doug, of going down to 12,000 on them. Because they have never used 15,000 worth between the three of them.
Should we go up on the expense? Cause the year before they were over and this year they're out, they're.
Right on the thing. Now, what is the lister's expense actually?
Probably mileage.
Mileage. And office supplies.
Now, the other thing is though, are the listers gonna be working more with the auditors, or with the new?
Assessors?
Assessors.
Not for this budget, because the assessors are almost done. You see all the yellow lines
Okay, so
on
yeah,
that
okay,
map?
so
That's
yeah,
all the roads
they,
that are
they'll
already
finish it up in the 22 budget,
They'll be
okay,
done in April.
all right. Now, are they involved in grievances for, that will happen, and so,
That'll happen in this budget too,
okay.
that we're in right now.
So, we're gonna leave expenses alone, are we, or are we going up?
But we didn't decide on the salary yet. Are we gonna take
Oh, I
that
thought we
down?
said
We
12,000.
agreed on 12.
Okay.
Should we go up to 2,000 on expenses?
I think we
just to have
should.
it covered.
Okay, so 12,000 on salaries, 2,000 on expenses. Training, do we want to leave it at 500 in case there's new training? Because we never know who's
Right.
coming on and
Exactly.
what's gonna happen every year.
Yep.
Okay. Auditor salaries.
Haven't spent anything there.
Well, I'm thinking that we put it up to $150,000. That'll draw some people. You'll have them knocking on the door to.
I'd say keep all those things the same.
Okay. Okay, delinquent tax collector. A training of $200. Probably ought to leave that there.
I would.
Okay. The legal fees of $100. Why do we, because they have to consult with the attorney on things?
Oh, and they sell a property.
Oh, they have to, but shouldn't that come out of the,
Yeah, that does come out of that. You're right.
I guess it's just one of them items, looks like it's been there right along.
It's a placeholder at $100.
all right, we'll leave it there then.
The delinquent tax collector can't do too much until he gets a chance to get into the computer.
He's got what he needs.
All right, we are on to, well,
Law enforcement. Oh, E911.
911, $100?
Yeah,
Okay,
that's when somebody needs a new house number.
okay, so a total of 100. Law enforcement, on to the sheriffs. Now, why do we have traffic control as a separate?
Well, we thought that we might hire a separate individual because the sheriff is really not doing what we had hoped he had done. But we never found that individual, and as far as I'm concerned, we could cut the whole damn thing out.
Well, I don't think we want to cut it in our first draft anyways. I think we could discuss, I mean, we could take,
We could put the money into the sheriff or whatever, but
Yeah, I mean, I'm very dissatisfied with the
Yeah.
service we get for that.
I heard
amount
the
of
other
money.
day, he stopped somebody on Baker Brook Road and wrote a ticket for doing 62 and a 25.
Well, that's a good thing. I'm very happy to hear that.
And he got somebody else in the Four Corners in the last couple of weeks for doing like 80.
Whoa.
So he has been writing
That one was
tickets.
doing 81 when he went by the barn. You got him right there.
Good.
so,
Well, I know earlier, Tom, when Dave Fox was in here,
We talked
we
about
had talked
increasing.
about getting the other car in town, so I think
the
we
same
should
time.
keep the extra 10 in there and see if we can do back to back. So we have a car in the village and one up above once in a while, just as an experiment maybe to see if,
Well, if they're gonna do it, I'm all with it. But the problem is, we have asked and asked and asked, and they don't come through with it.
now I guess our contracts are yearly, right?
Right.
And they can be canceled in 30 days.
I mean, I think we're talking two different things tonight, and I want to make sure that we stay clear on it, is we don't want to back down on law enforcement. if we're not happy with the provider, we still don't want to cut our fees that we got here. So I guess let's not get the side is that, you know, we want the law enforcement.
We
So-
do, and I'd love to
so-
go back to a constable.
So if I guess my question is, are we happy with the 34,000 or should we bump that to 40,000 since we've cut a few other areas, or still back to
Well, we haven't used any of the 10, so I certainly wouldn't put it up anymore.
well, we didn't increase we never increased our coverage, which we had talked about.
Right.
And that's the thing is, I know it's not like a shopper's market of we can hire 30 different, but we don't want to back down at all, I believe, on law enforcement. I would really like to see us keep increasing that.
I think, yeah, probably under law enforcement to go up to 40 would be good, but it doesn't necessarily have, you know, we can figure out.
I'm not saying that we have,
How
you know,
to use it.
the debate of a contract with what provider is a whole different thing.
Right.
I would like to make sure we have the money to provide law enforcement.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Well, you've got 3,500 right now, and you've only spent 24.
Yeah, but that's only a few
We only
months into
spent 22.
into our thing, and the thing is, they are behind on their hours scheduled. I know they had some issues with people being able to work, so I think they owe. I mean, I would hope they get caught up with our hours that they provide. But back to it, I mean, I guess I would like to make sure that we're clear that we're trying to increase that budget a little bit, and we got to deal with the other end of it. I mean, because if we cut the budget, I mean, then no matter what we try to do, I mean, the state police are available for contract. If you're not happy.
Well, and when I have called with a complaint, I've called the sheriff and they said, can't help you, call the state police. So I am not in
And
favor
I'm-
of increasing it.
Okay, but I think that's an issue that we should have.
One person,
And
there's
I think
4 others
that's an
that feel.
issue that we should be dealing with the sheriff's department, like calling David in, speaking with him in a meeting, telling him we're not getting our services. I mean, if he's unaware of it, I mean, if you didn't speak to the sheriff directly.
No, I spoke to the dispatcher.
Yeah, then, but so back to the thing is, my concern is we don't want to cut our law enforcement.
Well, that sheriff is in town quite often up on this end.
Yeah, he had a couple weeks where he was out, Doug, but that's, I mean, they made us aware of it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, no, he's back.
He gets a lot of them, I tell you that. I was really surprised how many he got on this flats up through here.
You know, we're going on a tangent here, but
Yeah, we are, so let's move on. Let's make a decision here.
I'm in favor of 40,000 for law enforcement.
I would say.
You agree?
Yeah.
You agree with 40,000, Doug? Doug? Do
Yeah, what's
you
that?
agree with 40,000?
Sure.
You got it. So we're gonna increase that bottom number to 20,000?
You can,
Traffic control?
I mean, we can,
That's the
it doesn't
easiest
matter
way.
how we put it in there. It's a
Okay.
total of, I mean, law enforcement's gonna be 40 at the end. Waste disposal salaries, Cliffy got a 2% increase. And 21. He used 19,054. So with a 2% increase, the 20 still should cover that, right?
Yep.
So that's $380. Yeah, so we'll go with the 20,000.
Okay.
Dump day?
Looks like we better go up.
We plan on having another dump day, correct?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so we better go up, like Mike said, to 2,500?
Okay. Or did
Do you wanna go
more?
3 grand just to cover it?
Yeah, why don't we
I
go
would
3
rather have-
grand?
You might wanna take that 3,000. But wait, cause their rates go up too.
Yeah, that's what we said, 3.
Yep, we'll go with 3. County waste fees, are they going up this year?
I would imagine. Name one thing it hasn't gone up.
Well, you're right, I mean, it's 6.5% inflation, so,
Yeah, and, you know, they're dependent on gas, so.
so in that, do we want to increase them, or do?
In 2021, we only spent $55 on county waste.
Yeah, because they switched around how they're doing it.
They bill Casellas directly or something
Yeah.
like that.
So instead of us paying Rutland County Solid Waste, we now get the bill from Casellas.
Okay. So it's still,
So it's down there in your disposal fees
okay.
rather than your,
Yeah, so we were over on that.
yeah.
So do we want to lower the county fees down to basically $1 or something, and then just
Well,
put it
or
on?
$100.
Yeah, I put
Okay,
$100.
$100, and then, we'll have to go up to, I mean, they had it to 57, they
Right.
raised it 10, but that basically covered the county fees.
Right,
60.
I would say.
Try 60 for the first. Compact lease, are we, is that that lease, we finally own it after a while, or is that a, lease forever?
I believe it's a lease forever, isn't it?
I can check into it.
Well, we had 58 and it was 55, they budgeted 6. I'm hoping that they don't change, I mean,
Yeah,
we'll go with 6.
I think so.
Compactor expense, that's if we have to call somebody else to fix it, even though we lease them?
I assume that's for repairs, cause, yearly maintenance should be covered under the lease.
No, compactor expense, where is our,
We spent 13 and 21.
and they put 1,000 in, but we've only spent to date nothing. So I'm wondering,
That probably goes up and down.
since we haven't spent any, do we want to put 1,000 in still?
I think so.
Building maintenance, Cliffy's building. $500, what's he use? We upgrade him with a chair or something?
Yeah, I'd probably just leave it in case we have to do something
Right.
else.
All right, $500
You never
there.
know if somebody backs into it or something. Or what?
Or bear.
Yeah, that's true, when we have to do the bear
On
fixing.
at the door.
Cemetery flags and supplies. The community flags and the cemetery expenses. It looks like in '21, we spent almost $3,000. So for fiscal year '22, they budgeted $2,700. We haven't spent it yet, but I'm assuming you get that just before the 4th of July, so that money gets spent at the,
Well, before Memorial Day for the
or
flag.
before Memorial Day, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
the flags
So,
usually get put out first part of May.
so that number's pretty constant, is it? So we
Yeah.
could go with the $3,000 or the 20, see,
Well, you
they,
got, well, see, the flags they buy, cause they even, the ones that go up to the, every cemetery
All
in town,
cemeteries.
the town pays for the
Right,
flags
for
that
the
go to the
veterans.
veterans.
And it's
Then you
gonna
got
fluctuate
community.
a little, I think, because if I
Price
remember it, when they bought them, they buy more than they need.
One
And then
year.
they carry it over the
No.
next year.
Well,
There might be 10 flags
Well, that's
carried
it.
over.
That'll go
yeah,
up and down too,
there's
the, just pricing.
No bolt.
do we wanna go to
In
3,000?
fact, it was very hard to even get flags this year. We were like begging.
Are we thinking $3,000 or more?
Well,
Where,
you're
Oh,
lumping.
I lumped everything, sorry, we can,
okay,
I would leave the flags where they are.
yeah.
As far as the cemetery expense,
The expense is for the old cemeteries, and again,
is that just the maintenance?
well, no, it's, so the maintenance is taken care of by the trust funds, but the trust funds were not taking care of stones that were down and that kind of thing.
That type of, that's what I
And-
meant for maintenance.
Yeah, but not the lawn mowing.
Right.
So there is still fence work that needs to be done. There is a lot of stones that need to be fixed, and Sean Holden is just so far behind because he can't get help.
So I think, you're right, Tom, I think we should go at least 3,000.
Okay,
so,
Yeah, I would just go to 1,800 on the
yeah.
expense.
And bring it to 3,000.
sounds good.
All right, fire truck agreement still in place, is it?
That's a given, yeah.
Yeah, so we'll stay with the same fire truck
Yeah.
agreement at 25,000.
And Jennifer, we want to make a note that it's no longer Manchester, it's Northshire Rescue Squad. And they are in at the same price. Yeah, they're the same as last year for '22. We got their projections.
So 12,188.
Mhm.
And then the ambulance fund, how do they do that?
They're the same, they gave us the same price.
Okay. So that's
Bottom
Yeah.
line, they want 25.
25,347.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now, on these line items,
Yeah.
because they're voted on by the thing, do you put them into the budget first, or do you put them,
All of these people get contacted, and if they want to be on there again, they have to give us a letter.
but my question has always been, is since these are line items voted, this is a yay or nay, do we actually have to do anything with these in the budget? Because we have to cover them, but we don't know how many of them we're covering.
Right.
And that was always my question I wanted to ask somebody.
Yeah, so we have to cover the big amount, and now we have a letter from Pulteney Meadowy Natural Resources Conservation District that they want to be on here, and they didn't give us a number, so we wrote back and said, what are you looking for? And we haven't heard back from them yet.
So, total appropriations, we have to carry that, even though it may, some of them may get voted down.
Correct.
Okay, so we have no say in them, we can just,
That's the
Or the
voters'
next
say.
thing.
yeah. All right. On to The highway. Salaries and benefits.
So did you figure in what their raises will be?
Well, it was 2% of that, so we could, and then our overtime, so, is it 2 or 2.5 in year one, Steve? Do you remember?
That was 2.5.
Okay. So I would think we want to add 2.5 to the baseline salaries if they were calculated to the actual. Now, the thing is, I'm gonna think this, we've got the third guy, but I guess on baseline salaries, do 40 at 2403.
$961.20,
Times 3.
2883 times 52,
Yeah.
149,947.
Right now on baseline,
If we times that by 2.5%, is 153.7.
right now on baseline, we should be okay with this because overtime is in its own category. So the base salaries,
Yeah, you're covered.
we can get away with the 152,555.
Well, not necessarily. You hire a foreman, that's a different rate of pay. Right now, you're not paying a foreman.
Right, in fiscal year 23, we would assume that we're going to. So that's another $4 times 2,000, which is another $8,000. So we should probably go to 160,000 on salaries.
Yes.
Okay, 160 on salaries. Overtime, we reached, where was the overtime? Salaries, overtime. 12 grand last year.
I believe it. Because you don't know what,
Leave it in at 25?
yeah, you don't know what your winners are gonna bring.
Right.
Or your summers?
Or, yeah. I mean,
Yeah, no, if we're called out, yeah.
Yep.
No. All right. All these are gonna be roughly the same. How do you want to treat that with the increase of 2.5, or
Well, it looks like you're covered on your FICA because you're,
yeah.
actually, I think we're probably okay there.
Okay, let's just go to the 13 on the unemployment. Let's go with the 425. Workers' comp, we'll go with the 13,915. Retirement, now that's gonna be an issue this year. We're contributing 6%, correct? Which is what the contract says. Which, if we take our actual so you're gonna wanna take the 6% from that gross number.
I thought that 6%, if they put in 3%, we put in 3%, and that give them their 6%.
The way the contracts from 2011, which was never changed at all, I mean, we just carried that retirement through. It's 6% the town will contribute to the,
On a 40-hour week, that's $3,000 a year.
per employee.
per employee.
Well, if we do it on the gross salaries there, though,
Okay, if we go 160 just for,
yeah, at once,
well, then you won't have overtime, but 9,600, so you're gonna have to figure.
yeah. So, we're gonna have to increase our retirement from 4,235 to 9,600.
Yeah, I'd probably put 10K down just to round figure.
Let's go with 10,000 for the first run on it. Health insurance, I asked that question before, do you want us to hold off on it because we don't know the rates for health insurance this year, or we do?
We do, but it's in the vault, so I can get that to you.
Okay,
to you
we'll
guys.
leave that one alone.
Yep.
CDL Physicals, required once a year, well, once depending on,
They're good for 2 years.
Depends on the
Well,
driver.
Unless you have health issues, and a lot of people,
If you have high blood pressure.
they use once a year.
so we want to stay with 600?
Yeah, I would.
Okay. Safety gear, 500.
Yeah.
Mileage, why were we paying mileage to the, on the highway department?
Well, like before they had the 1 ton, if they'd use one of their pickups to run and get parts or something.
Let's bring that to 100. I don't know anybody, I'll make Steve run for parts, he's good at it. Oh, he's right there, I guess.
In my spare time.
Training, if there's anything comes up, we better put in 250. Garage supplies, let's see, where we actuals. And this is where it could be a little funky.
That could be a broad subject, garage supplies.
Well, this one here shows the $4,691 was spent. So far, it doesn't show any, and I'm not sure how we're categorizing it. I know maybe we've put them under trucks and stuff, but I guess let's
That must
just go with the 5,000 for now, and I wanna see where we're. Telephone, that's an actual number, 579 for the telephone there?
Yeah, I can't get over the telephone.
That makes no sense.
I know.
Can we put a question mark next to that and we look into why we're paying so much for a telephone? Which no one will answer, so.
Well, it's not the answering, it's the calling out on it that would be running it up, right?
Boy, 700 and,
I know.
I'm sure it's an actual bill, but I don't
Seems
know.
like a lot.
It seems like an awful lot. I'm just putting a question mark next to the telephone right at the moment. The garage maintenance, that was where were you stockpiling that money, or you just put that in for, because you put,
No.
you put 22,000 there,
Right.
20,000 into the building.
Right.
So you took that out of the general, or,
We took that out of the reserve fund and the sale of the town hall.
okay, so the $2,000 is to fix anything at the moment.
Right.
Now the garage doors, what are they coming out of?
The, project money, the reserve.
And that's in that budget? Okay.
So this is just, like if somebody backs into the building or something like that.
All right, we'll leave that there. That's the rental on the pole barn for the storage at $975. I guess if we just go down through these, I guess we should do them line item by line item. Grass seed, is a big item and it is expensive. Retreatment, I think we should stay with that number. Crack sealing, I think we do have to get caught up on it
Yes,
this
we
year,
do.
so we'll stay with that. Culverts, that could be a problem if we do have some culverts that we're gonna change on the Timoth Road. And my concern is, well, we do have last year's culvert money, is culverts have gone up a lot.
I'm getting the appropriate size.
Yeah,
Impossible.
yeah. Oh, you've been buying them lately and trying to find them is,
Like I said,
yeah, no, that's, yeah, this, hopefully this culvert dilemma is over by next year.
yeah, you went
I don't think it's gonna be because,
Do you wanna go to 15,000? Just,
yeah, I would like to go to 15 on the culverts for now, for the initial.
well, that's one of them things sometimes you put culverts in you don't plan on during the year too.
Yeah, and the problem is culverts are they're taking a higher rate up than regular inflation. Well, they are petroleum too, so. Sign posts,
I'd leave it.
yeah. Guardrail, I would like to do a bunch of guardrail in areas this year, so if we
And I'd
leave
like
that.
to see guardrails repaired.
Yeah, so let's leave that. Gravel and stone, I think the 30 still should cover it. Hot and cold patch, I guess if they gotta go get some cold patch throughout the winter for any. Chloride, we actually went over this year, but by $1,500. So I would like to, I think that was probably about an average of where we wanted to be. I'd like to raise that to the 8,500.
Do you wanna go up a little in case that goes up?
Wouldn't hurt.
We're pushing out quite a ways here.
9,000?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it really holds them well when we can. Fuel and gas, that one is, I mean, last year was a real cheap year, and even though it's gone up 30%, I think the 40 should cover it. I don't want to get us in trouble on that, but if you look at 21, it was only 19 with a, let's say a 30% increase, that still would have kept us well in the,
Yeah, I think you're fine.
so let's go with the 40 still there.
So the fuel tax, leave it.
Yeah, fuel tax, leave it. State permits. Now, what are we paying state permits on? Is that for when we gotta do a project for,
Must be.
I'm just trying to think which ones we actually pay for. I mean, I know we gotta get permits to work in the, river and stuff, but I didn't know we actually paid them guys for it. Can we let's put a question mark just next to that for now. Special projects, I just soon leave that right there at 26. Okay, equipment. Looks like equipment maintenance supplies,
Well, filters, you got 0 in the budget and they got $950 down in 21.
yeah, I just wanted to see, instead of going over filters and stuff, what the actual, so they budgeted 38, they spent 46, so they put 45 in.
Yep. Not bad, I go to 50. Parts ain't getting, it's like everything, parts are not cheaper.
Right. Let's put in 50 for the start. Winter roads, I think we're okay with the sand number at 55 and the salt number, we may want to put up 5,000 more.
So you're saying go to 55 on the
Go to
salt?
55 on the salt too.
Okay.
I guess I'm not sure what we're paying on right now, so I don't think we can deal with that one. The equipment reserve fund though, and structure reserve fund, do you guys want to leave that the same?
What's the structure, like bridges and stuff like
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go any less.
Oh, I wouldn't go any less either, but I for the first run of this, I'd like to leave them the same.
Yeah.
Around midnight, we'll see if we changed any of the others. Are you good with that, Steve?
Yep.
It's just about your bedtime, Andy.
It is 4 o'clock comes
We're at the end of the pages, guys.
Yes.
So, I think that's a good first run on that. That we're gonna let Jen have a copy of that for adding the numbers up.
Were you making the
No.
changes as we went?
I didn't get all of them.
Okay, I'll get with you then.
We'll make sure so that when we get back together the next time, we actually got what our first draft was of it.
All I did, Jen, if there was a change, I wrote it to the right. If not,
Okay.
they would just be the way they were, if you want to take that one.
Okay, yeah, and that's what I did too, so. You can try that, I'll keep this one.
All right, that's that. This is going with this. This is going with this.
And we get back to our agenda, which is any old business.
Yeah, I guess, I don't care if I'm gonna wait for new business, so.
Any other old business? Okay. New business.
Yeah,
Okay, are you gonna bring it up, Doug? I'll let you then.
no, you go ahead, and I'll grab afterwards.
I guess I want to get some clarity from the board and for the treasurer and the delinquent tax collector. And I'm confused on it, and maybe, I don't know if we can answer it right now, is the areas that Doug, the delinquent tax collector, Doug White Jr., needs to get into to be able to do his job. I didn't bring that email, I'm sorry. Anyone got Doug's email
Yes.
right there? And what the concern is, and I want the board to be involved in this so that we're not putting Jen in the spotlight on it, is what areas Doug needs to be able to get into to do his job that don't, and I want to make sure everybody's clear on this, so that we're not allowing just open access to everything on anything. I don't think that's right for anything, but he needs to be able to get into certain areas, which he spelled out here. And I guess my question first to Jen is, we did discuss this, is there ways with NIMRIC that we allow him access to just the areas he needs to?
As far as I know, yes. And when I went and changed the passwords, I asked NIMRIC to set up a password, or they helped me set up his password. And I said, what information will Doug need to do his job? And I set him up based on their advice.
So right now Doug has access to those areas.
Yes, and he's requested that he has more access, which it looked like he emailed NIMRIC. I believe they said that they didn't see anything wrong with him having that.
Well, my question is that in anywhere that if he makes a mistake in there, it's an area that you're actually into as well, and it would cause a conflict?
I believe it's just in the GL and running reports in the GL.
But he was asking for access to the GL?
Yes, I believe so. If you read his email.
Okay, I requested PDFs, which is fine, of the general ledger, but he's just asking for the PDFs of the general ledger.
Which was sent.
Yep. With zero, okay, no, you're, GL reports are totally public info, which they are. Any off-street, reports, and we'll get next, okay. I guess I'm trying to see where in the email he's asking. I don't want to just read the... Okay, he's asking for access to calculate penalty, calculate interest, print tax notices, and delinquent tax reports. That, what area is he looking for to?
I believe he has access to that. That would be in tax admin. And I believe he does the calculation of interest and penalties, and he can run those reports.
Okay. So Doug, I'm thinking that we're gonna have to talk with Dougie on this too, because I'm confused. I don't want the he said, she said.
Right.
I mean, so I don't think there's anything that we can do as a board tonight other than say we need to make sure that he's equipped to be able to get into the areas that he needs to be into. But I guess with it, without meeting with Doug, I don't think there's much we can do right at the moment.
Well, you can't, she sent him, he asked for some stuff and she sent him, she sent him the wrong ones, not the ones he wanted.
Well, I don't think...
He's got to get into that part, or you're going to have to find somebody else to do his job. It won't be that simple.
I mean...
Probably Jen wants a job, I don't know.
Well, I don't think anyone's trying to keep him out of the areas that he needs to be in. I think there's some confusion about that, though, because there's definitely confusion right now from me, because with Dougie saying that he can't get into the areas he needs, and Jen saying that he set him up with. So I'm almost thinking that we're gonna have to meet with Dougie and go through it line by line, and I guess is my thought. And so I'll reach out to Dougie and tomorrow, and we'll try to move forward with this, because I'd like to get it resolved this week.
Have any one of you guys read his response from NEMRICS?
Yeah, and the thing is, though, the response doesn't say anything other than, where is it? Depending on, are these unreasonable requests, question mark, and she says, I would think as delinquent tax collector, these are reasonable requests. So, I have access to calculate as delinquent. I mean, she's answering it general, but I don't see where that, is there anything on there that he, and I just don't want to beat the dead horse during the meeting. I think Dougie's gonna have to come down. I saw him the other day down here. I wished he'd said something to me when he was here. But I think what we need to do is have him here and so we can go over this and resolve it, because without him here and just Jen here, I guess I'm having trouble understanding what parts he can't get in. And I'm not sure if anyone else, I'm sure, is as confused as I am.
Yeah. Well, okay,
Yeah, no, and I'll reach out to him in the morning.
okay.
All right.
All right, so on that new business, I said, we gotta bring back this remote meetings. Because I've had 8 people in my family get COVID, and one of them died. So we gotta get that remote meeting back. We gotta reinstate it and get it back, and get it in.
Well, under Robert's Rules of Orders, it came up, it didn't go anywhere, which makes it defeated, and you cannot bring it up again.
You send me a copy of that, I don't believe that for a minute.
I guess the next thing I'd like to bring up under new business is and I brought it up in the budget part, is the flood mitigation, is that I think we should all kind of participate. Brad and I put, and that's actual in-kind time that we spent on that we got a little sheet we can fill out. And I'd like to make sure Mike and Steve are involved in it, because they have just as much, you know, all the roads up your way, you understand yours, Mike knows his, so that we do it as a full group, even if we have to warn.
Go over it, you're saying?
Yeah,
Okay.
on the map, because we're the ones that are gonna pass it. And I don't wanna say this wrong, but I feel that since we're the ones responsible for it, we should be happy with it. And the problem that I can see happening is what Rutland Regional is doing isn't what I think the board would want. I mean, we're steering the right way, but my concern is that we're not gonna be happy with it if we're not all involved. So I guess I wanna make sure that, or I want to bring that up in new businesses, that we probably should all
Yeah.
put that together.
What about all tax people, well, the 62, that we got that one of taxpayers, that we don't listen to taxpayers at all on none of this? And that's just a start, 62 signatures. I know we probably could have got 200 of them. Now, if we can't do it now, we're gonna have to put it on the ballot for March to be voted on. Because we got enough signatures to have it put on the ballot, and there's no goddamn way you can stop that part.
No, you're right about that, Doug.
So why the hell don't we get it now? Because you know goddamn well if it goes on the ballot in March, it's gonna get voted in.
No, you don't. You never know anything until it's voted in.
No, we never know, huh?
People lose by one vote sometimes.
It didn't take 2 days to get 62 signatures on that, so yes, no, you don't think.
Okay, well, you're out of order at this point discussing it. So, we have another item.
Business, ain't we? We're still discussing new business, right?
You can't discuss something that has already been voted down. It's done.
It ain't done. It's done with you because you don't want it, because you're too goddamn afraid it's too much you're gonna get back, and you're gonna find out that you're crooked. Everything you've done so far has been dishonest.
Well, good, Doug. I'm glad this is being recorded, and I will refer that comment to my attorney.
Property. You had Janice buy it for you, and she turns it over to you, and you don't even want to pay the damn back taxes on it.
Okay, we have another item of business here, which is from the Rutland County Solid Waste District. They have applied for a grant, and they would like us to send a letter of recommendation to the U.S. Department of Agriculture endorsing receiving the grant.
I read that. I forgot all about did you read that?
I read part of it.
This letter shall act as an official letter to support the
I
Rutland
forgot what were
County.
they actually applying for on that. I'm sorry. That
A material management plan.
And how does that affect us in the big picture?
I think in the big picture, that helps us by giving us literature and whatnot that we can either post out here or give to people. And it probably helps with Cliffy as
Okay.
far as what
Yep,
he needs.
I'll make a motion that we sign the, letter of recommendation for the Rutland County Solid Waste,
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Any other new business? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
I'll second it.
Motion is made and seconded to adjourn at 9:10. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried, meeting is adjourned.